Hi neighbor, my name is Juliet DeRienzo. On this episode, I learned more about TEDx Talks hosted right here on campus. Michael Giuliano checks out the Turchin Center hosting a Black Mountain College exhibit. Bryan Bouboulis is back with another financial minute about the importance of budgeting. And lastly, I talked with two professors involved with Sweeney Todd, an upcoming production of Appalachian's Department of Theater and Dance and Hay School of Music. I hope you'll join me as I say, hi neighbor. TEDx is an independently produced TED Talk event, and last year, App State hosted its first one ever. The event will continue this year with even more speakers on a variety of topics. Joining me today is Hannah Godfrey, a co-curator of the event, and Carla Ramsdell, a speaker at the event. Thank you all so much for joining me today.
Sure. Thanks, Juliet.
So Hannah, first tell our audience, what is TEDx?
So TEDx stands for Technology, Entertainment, Design, and then the X stands for Independently Organized.
Okay.
So that just means that any university or company can host one of these events.
Okay, that's so exciting. Now, does the organization TED Talk come to the university? How does this get organized?
So back in August, I applied for a license, and I had to send in lots of ideas and pitches of, what kind of speakers we were looking to have, and then TED, they came back to me and they wanted more, they wanted more details, and after back and forth for a bit, I was able to get this TEDx license.
Wow.
Meaning that I can just hold one here at the university and get people to help me.
That's incredible. Tell me about your involvement with TEDx.
Well, I just saw an announcement about it in some of the emails across my email string, and I thought it was really interesting. I love TED. I use it often in classes and just personally.
Great.
So I just thought I had no idea we had an event last year, and I thought it was really exciting, so I reached out to Hannah, and we've been in conversation since then to see how I could be integrated.
Great. You said you use TED Talks in your classes?
I do.
Are you a professor here on campus?
I am. I teach in the physics and astronomy department, and
Great.
I teach a lot of courses about energy and a lot about the energy of our food system.
So now you can use your TED Talks in
Super,
class
we'll
as well.
see. Yeah.
What is your speech going to be about?
Well, I don't want to give away too much, obviously, but we're
Okay.
going to be talking about this perfectly imperfect potato. So our energy of our food system has become, a little crazy in some situations. So we're going to tell a bit of a narrative about how that's come to be. And I don't just always bring a skillet with me to interviews.
I was going to say.
But the skillet will be integrated. So I think it's the research I'm doing right now is related to the thermodynamics of a skillet and why we choose the materials we choose and why cast iron has been so, loved of a material for so long. And so we'll go into a little bit of how that can inspire future people people in the future to cook more.
Sure. Well, thank you for that very interesting teaser. I love it.
Yeah.
So Hannah, tell me about your involvement so far. Has it been difficult, easy? What does the process look like?
It's been fun, but it's also been hard. But I feel like a lot of people throughout the university have been really eager to help me, and I've just been in contact with so many great professors like Dr. Ramsdell and your producers here, and I've just really been able to meet a lot of people through the university, and they've all been really eager to help me.
Great. Now, is it usually students or usually professors? What is the ratio usually?
Last year we had 2 students and 2 professors. But this year we're looking at all 4 speakers being professors.
Okay.
So, we were looking to have more students, maybe more variety, but I think having professors will be really good too.
I see. It gives a little credibility because they're professors here at the university. So tell me, if a professor or maybe potentially a student next year wants to join the TEDx, how would that happen?
Well, I have this snazzy new email account now, TEDxApplachianStateUniversity at appstate.edu.
Okay.
It's a long one, but if you email that, I'll totally meet with you and we can talk about whatever you would want to speak at your TEDx talk.
That's great.
And we can figure out if you can be a speaker.
Perfect. Well, thank you all so much for joining me on the show today.
Thank you.
Of course. TEDx is an event you will not want to miss. There is guaranteed to be a talk that will inspire you. This year's event will be held on Saturday, April 7th from 2 to 7 p.m. in the Parkway Ballroom of the Plemmons Student Union.
Hi, I'm here at the Turchin Center for Visual Arts, and this is a 15th year anniversary. I'm here getting a look at all of the art they have to display and get a better understanding of what this event is all about. Hi, I'm here with Mary Ann Redding. Hi.
Hi.
So I'd like to know, as a curator, what do you do here?
The exhibitions that you see, what curators do is work with artists to bring the work here to the Turchin Center.
Great, great. I want to know, so what type of impact does this have on the App campus and all of Boone?
You know, Boone is not a huge art destination. We're not New York, we're not LA, but we are in the Appalachian Mountains where there's a really strong, rich tradition of arts and crafts. And the fact that the Turchin Center really focuses on contemporary artwork, I think it exposes to people in Boone to artwork that they may not see anywhere else except here, unless they're in a big city.
And you talk about all this type of different art you have here. Let me know a little, like, what's the most craziest art you have, or just any interesting art that kind of comes to mind.
The show that we have downstairs is Black Mountain College. We've been working on that show for 2.5 years, which is part of the Black Mountain College semester that the entire university is doing. So there's work from 1933 all the way up until last year.
Hi, I'm here with Lynn Willis, and behind us is his picture. Hi, Lynn.
Hey there.
Hi. So I'd like to know exactly what is this picture and describe it, like what it means to you, what went into making it.
Okay, well, this is the composite I did of a bunch of images of the total solar eclipse. And so there was some Photoshop work in the end of it to composite the images. But I'd prepared for a couple of months for this photo as far as planning it, studying about how to take photos with a solar filter and therefore. So I was very anxious before this moment, and when it started happening, it was just an incredible experience. And I was able to enjoy some of it as well, you know, because I wanted to make sure I actually enjoyed totality at the moment.
Yeah, I love, and in this picture, I really love it because I was born in the eclipse, so that's something cool, interesting.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and what I'd like to also know, how did you get your picture here in the Turchin Center?
So I've been entering this contest for years, I think since almost the beginning, and been fortunate to get in quite a few times. So it's a really great competition where it brings so many different photographers together, but it's more and more competitive over the years because it's not just local and regional photographers. There's a lot of photographers represented throughout the country. So it's a really prominent photo competition, and you know, honored to be involved with it and have a couple submissions.
Hi, I'm here with Aat here today, and crazy enough to think he's from South Africa. So what made you come here to App?
Well, I was keen on the exchange program, so studying abroad gives you opportunity to see new cultures, different ways of approaching different things. I mean, like just looking at the art here, it differs from what we have in Africa, looking at the architecture as a whole. So I think that opportunity to learn something new, learn about a new culture. So that's basically why I decided. And yeah, App as a arts college, I think it allows that opportunity.
So far, what has been your thoughts on this exhibit so far?
The exhibit is quite interesting. I think there's some thought-provoking pieces, which I like. I think art is sort of a foundation for many things in life, so it's interesting. You can get a lot of ideas. Architecture comes out of art, and so yeah, it's interesting.
Well, this was a splendid event, and I'm glad I came to Turchin Center's 15th year anniversary event. I got the chance to see a variety of art, talk to a bunch of people, and really get to understand what Appalachian art is.
Bryan Bouboulis is here again to help explain important financial tips in an easy-to-understand way. Today, he's discussing the importance of a budget. Bryan, take it away.
Thank you, Juliet. A budget is very important because it allows you to tell your money what to do instead of you wondering where your money went. You got to think of a budget as a way to help you reach your goals and to do the things that you want to do in life. A budget is not really there to constrict you or keep you from doing things, but it's the plan, the roadmap to get you from point A to point B in your financial future. Technology has come a long way, and there's great apps such as Mint from Intuit that you can put on your cell phone that'll help you to keep a daily budget. It'll tie into your accounts and let you know exactly what you're doing with your money. To learn more about personal finance, you can register for Finance 2860. I'm Bryan Bouboulis with your Financial Minute.
The Department of Theater and Dance, along with Hayes School of Music, will be performing Sweeney Todd in the Schaefer Center. If stories of revenge and thrill excite you, then you are going to love this play. Costume designer Sue Williams and vocal director Gennard Lombardozzi are here to tell me more about it. Thank you all so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. Of course. First, tell us a little synopsis about Sweeney Todd.
Well, that's a little tricky because it can be quite complex, but essentially it's about a man who has had his life in his younger years stolen from him by people in authority. He's been sent to a penal colony in prison, essentially, while those who did this to him took his wife, took his child, took his business, took everything, and he has come back because all he has thought about for 15 years is revenge and getting back what really belongs to him.
Ooh.
And so the play is about his path to try to accomplish those things.
Wow. So this is a very complex plot, so I assume it's going to be a huge production.
It is.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that process so far. What is your role with this production?
I'm the vocal coach, so I'm helping the singers sort of find their voice in this repertoire. It's a huge production team, though. We have director, we have a choreographer, we have costume designers, lighting designers. So there's quite the creative team that goes into this. So the production is big. There's a full orchestra.
Wow.
And someone else conducting that as well. So yeah, it's huge. There's a lot of moving parts, and it's a really intense and sort of interesting plot. So it's going to be a great show.
Okay. And Sue, what is your involvement?
Well, I'm the costume designer, so it's my responsibility to be sure everyone is dressed appropriately for the period, for the production, for the style in which we're doing the show. And also, I'm overseeing makeup. I have a student, actually, who's assisting me, who's in charge of the makeup design for the show, which is going to be an integral part of how each character looks. And so all of that is really how the characters look or my responsibility.
I was going to ask, how do you guys do it, like by yourselves, or do you have assistants? How does this work?
Well, I do have a student assistant, plus there are many people working in the costume shop, student workers who are actually doing the sewing and the alterations and that sort of thing, putting everything together for us over there.
And for the music side of it, so I do most of the vocal coaching, but then there's several accompanists who help with the music learning and then also playing for rehearsals and things like that. The conductor also has an assistant who helps warm up the ensemble and take notes and things like that. So there's a lot of people involved.
Okay, so for someone who is not involved in plays usually, what does the research behind, like the time period maybe, and then training a college student who lives in this time obviously, how does that process work?
Well, I will say that we have actually one of the jobs on the show is something called a dramaturg, who is a person whose responsibility is to do a lot of research into the history of the period, into whether or not any of these types of people really actually lived, things that the student actors need to know and the singers need to know, that helps designers. And we actually have a faculty person who is the dramaturg on this. Plus, he has about 6 student assistants who are working in that too. And they've done regular kind of presentations to the cast about things like how you sit in this period, how you walk in this period, how people in this period would behave that's different from the way a modern person might think about working within the context of the show.
So it's so interesting because I thought you only had student actors, but it seems that a lot of your staff are students as well, helping out with the production.
Yeah, which is fantastic. There's that whole side of production. It's not just about the acting and the singing and the playing and all of that. There's a huge team that puts a production together. So in the professional world, and we're training all of these students to be professionals, that's one of the biggest parts of a production is behind the scenes and putting that sort of thing together.
Of course.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for them.
Right. Now, you all are the department is usually in Valborg, so why are we in Schaefer Center for this play?
So this is a collaboration between the 2 schools. When we do operas and things like that in the Hayes School, we do it in Rosen Concert Hall. So it's a smaller venue, wouldn't hold that many people, and it's the same with Valborg. It's not big enough to hold the type of audience that we are going to get, and also it's not big enough to house the size of set that Mike Helms created. It's huge and incredible.
Wow!
And we
need a mic. Moves around, so you need.
So excited!
It's huge, and we're using the microphone system and amplification that you don't usually use in either of the theaters that we use.
That's correct.
So we need that Schaefer for that as well, and the lighting system. It's more intense and there's more options.
Okay.
There's just more opportunity to fit things in over there and to be large, and it's very large.
And we want this to be a big production, which it is going to be.
That's so exciting.
Many people involved.
Yeah.
So you all have worked with professionals before. What is the difference between working maybe with professionals and then with students?
Well, I think professional people who do this all the time, you know, that's their job. And so generally you have all day to rehearse, you're working all the time to get ready. Students, of course, have classes and they have other life to live and other responsibilities, clubs and all sorts of things that take their focus really sometimes. And so they have to find time in their day to do that kind of work. And I think it's really, it requires lots of discipline. Maybe it's not that professionals don't have discipline, but students have to find a special kind to be able to find the time within their schedules to put in the work that's required for a show like this.
I think also something that happens with, especially singing, well, and acting is the same way. It's easy to get fatigued vocally, and so with an extra schedule and different ensembles and different sorts of activities that they're involved in, they're learning how to manage their fatigue. I guess both physically and not being able to sleep, but also vocally. And that's not something that professionals generally have to deal with because they're just on the job doing the gig and they don't have to worry about.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all so much for coming on the show today. I cannot wait to see the play.
It's going to be great.
Of course.
Thanks for having us.
Looking forward to it.
It is incredible that App State students get the opportunity to be a part of a Tony Award-winning play. Performances will be held at 7 p.m. on April 13th and 14th, with a 2 p.m. matinee on April 15th. To purchase tickets for Sweeney Todd, go to theschaefercenter.org or stop by the Schaefer Center box office during business hours. Thank you so much for joining me today. There are so many great events and places to check out here on campus. I hope you enjoyed learning about TEDx Talks, the Turchin Center, and the musical production of Sweeney Todd. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Watch AppTV, and check out our YouTube channel, AppTV, to see more content and features. Until next time, bye neighbor.